I was trying to talk before I was muted, but for September, if we could have a board in service, we'll have a very abbreviated meeting. We only have, I believe, 2 resolutions. We'll do first readings and second readings. But I tentatively have Bridget Gargan, the executive director of the County Board Association, to talk with us about state issues, the County Board Association, um, efforts they see for the next upcoming budget. So, and that will be our final in-service. So once we do that, we'll be set. So everyone should have 4 hours or near 4 hours, and we should be good for the year. Does that sound okay?
Sounds good, Bill.
Okay.
Sounds good to me.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. Okay, we are live. So the final thing wanted to talk about is so what is the potential scope and financial commitment that we will be making if we would address the school age issue from either local funds or if we provide a home and community-based service waiver. I'm going to turn it over to Lee. She does have a quick spreadsheet to show, and we can certainly discuss it after she reviews it.
Hello again, everyone. So I put this spreadsheet together and I tried to color code it a little bit so it's easy to follow, and I hope I've made the font big enough so everybody can see it. So we're going to look at costs as if we were to pay costs locally for a number of families or a number of students versus if we were to add new waivers for a number of students. So just keep in mind that if we were to locally fund, it would only last for 1 year because this is mainly due to COVID. If it should happen to last for 2 or 3, okay. But compared to a waiver, the cost associated with the new waiver follows that person for the lifetime unless they're disenrolled. So it's not just an expense that will end after, a few years, 2 or 3 years. So first, what we see here is in that gray box at the top, I did a comparison. If we were to serve 25 kids, 50 kids, 75, 100, as you can see here, and the waiver match option, so how I calculated that, the HPC rate's about $18. There's 176 days of school, 6 hours a day at $18 is $475,200 for 25 students. So if you look over to the right, you can see how that obviously changes the higher the number of students we serve. So currently, based on our federal mapping assistance percentage, or the FMAP, which is usually around 37%, but right now it's around 30.6%, the match we would pay for those kids are listed in yellow right here. So this would be the annualized match for 25 kids, 145,000, and so on and so forth. Now we know that enhanced rate for FMAP isn't going to last. We're going to go back up to 37%. So all that's going to do is make our annualized cost for those students increase. So we go to 175,000 for 25 students, and then looking over to the right, so on and so forth, out 703,000 for that 37% FMAP rate. Now in green here, I've put the locally funded option. So this is would be probably a one-time cost unless the COVID problems extended to the next school year. But still figuring this, 176 days of school, 6 hours a day, and a follow-along's hourly rate is around $13. If they have benefits, some of them don't have healthcare benefits, so it's mainly just factoring retirement. So as you can see, if we were to fund 25 students for a year, it would cost us $343,000. So if you'll look at the difference here. As you can see, in the green, the locally funded option is more. However, it's a one-time cost. So just keep that in mind as we're looking at these numbers. And then again, out here, 50 students, 75, and 100. Now here down at the bottom, just to have a little snapshot, for one student for 1 year would cost about $13,728, which is where Bill got the $14,000 from. Does anybody have any questions on this spreadsheet?
No.
Are other county boards using any of these other options?
No, no. Some have enhanced their family support services dollars, which we offer about 1,000, but nothing to this extent. Again, the question is, would we just, as people came to us and not advertised, and I don't know how fair that is, but that would probably keep our numbers lower. I would defer to Amy, Paula, and Julie about the numbers, because I think they think the number of 100 is probably low.
And just thinking about the number of requests from families regarding, childcare and summer care and things like that. I mean, I think the number's low, but again, we have no way of predicting. I don't know if anyone else wants to add anything. Families talk, we mentioned that, one gets a goodie bag, and we help them, which is wonderful. And then, the cycle starts.
Childcare. Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, if this is a COVID thing, then, I think the numbers will not probably be 100. If this is something that we're providing because it's childcare for families that have working parents and summer, we have lots and lots of families that need that. Every family's made their own decision with regards to education and whether they're sending their kids back or not. Will this impact anything? It may not. I don't know. I think like separating the COVID and then the childcare issue, I think it's two different things.
I agree. Summer care and childcare have always been a common theme as far as an issue for working parents. COVID related, when schools initially closed, that was really our big crisis that we saw. A lot of families in crisis because abruptly schools were closed, understandably. Since school has restarted, I personally, as an SSA, have not seen that. I don't know if families have really just worked out their plan for the school year. They've taken that time from when schools have closed until now. I've only had one other family reach out to me needing assistance for 1 day a week because of work schedule, and they made accommodations for the other days of the week, but they just needed help with that 1 day. And that's all I've seen so far coming back to school this year.
So we could come and look at, a grant option that could be applied for and cap the dollar amount for 6 months, and then look at the, for the first 4 months or the last 4 months of the year, and do the same for the first part of 2021. And so that would limit our exposure, and it has to be first in, first out. I don't know, there's a number of different frameworks we can use. And if you want us to look at some options, we can, as a group, put them together and present them informally through a work session in September. or we could, do a formal resolution for approval in September. Or we continue as we are. I think the waiver option is out because it would not help the mother of Public Speaks Today, because they're not going to, based on the waiting list assessment, a waiver doesn't look available to them and for them. So the only way to get some people help that don't have immediate and current needs is only local funding. And so the question is amount and what we can afford, what we potentially could get reimbursed through the CARES Act, if anything, and just recognize that these are very, very difficult times for families and just time limited. So certainly open to any feedback or questions, but we can go to the drawing board and see what we can come up with and come back to you in September with.
Yeah, the only thing I keep thinking about, Bill, is you got to be careful, and Pandora's box comes in mind to me, is you got to be careful what we do, and when you have a line drawn, and then if you move that line a little bit this way or something like that, then there's somebody else that's going to be just on that other side of the line, and they're going to want you to move that line a little bit more. And I just think we have to be very careful at this time.
Yeah, and I appreciate that, because so the request today is the only hearing process is to a state hearing. That of use of local funds would be coming right to you and me for yay and nay. So that's why we would have to have a criteria that was ironclad, because we would be making choices on who got money and who didn't. So, and that's really
Yeah, we don't want that. We don't want to be put in that position.
Yeah, it's a really challenging place. I'm not saying we shouldn't be there, and I'm just making everyone aware that we would be judge, jury in regards to the granting of funds for families. So any final thoughts?
Well, my thing is the waivers is kind of out, or it's a long shot. Either way you want to look at it. So the solution is an alternative one that you're exploring. So like, prefer to keep going down that path. I don't know what other board members think about that.
I agree with you, Bill. I think if you, or Dan, if you do it for a quarter at a time or something, like Bill had mentioned, take it to the end of the year, maybe. Just let's play and wait and see how this COVID works out. And maybe everything will just, by the end of this year, it'll work out on its own. I don't know. Like any of us know.
Yeah, because you never know. Maybe don't count the schools out, because schools may be able to come up with safe practices where more students can come back to school safely. Right? There's workplaces across the globe and the country that are being creative that way, but then again, some cases it may not work. So right.
Yeah, and go ahead.
I just kind of think that we need to find out what if and what Perry's going to do, and then revisit this issue. I mean, if they come back and they like your offer 75-25 or something like that, then maybe that's something that we might want to discuss and talk to. Or if they come back and they want a 60-40 or whatever, let's see what they come up with, and then maybe go from there.
Okay. Well, I'll keep you updated in regards to all of it, whether weekly or daily as I get information, because this obviously is a sensitive issue for families at this time. And we'll go from there, and we'll see if we can come up with some other proposals maybe that we haven't thought of.
And then we can cover some of these in the training as well.
Yes. I haven't talked to Joe Chaddock from the ESC specifically about this, just because of everything he has on his plate right now, but I'll certainly start that conversation tomorrow.
So we are, okay, so is this our last topic? And
It is.
okay, any other comments or questions? Other than that, I would need a motion to adjourn.
Higgy moves.
Second. Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. No abstentions. We're adjourned at 8:02.
Bye-bye, guys.
Thanks, everyone. Stay safe.
Thank you.
Aye.
You as well.
Bye.
Good night.